are 11-7. Will Barton with a 3, and that's down the hatch.
Coach Kerr about that. He said, listen, it's going to be about what the doctor says.
Down low.
Alone, number 2, Barton 3, good. Hits another one from outside. Of 4.
Their schedule, you find a way. This is why they're 12 deep as Barton knocks down his 4th 3 of the evening.
He looks for some help and finds it with a Barton triple try. Got it. And Jokic now picking up his game, 10-19. He'll put up a 3. That's good. Will Barton's 10-19, 3. Good! Shot by Barton.
That was a classic game.
Weren't the Nuggets
remember
down
that
the whole game?
The whole game to the very end. Oh man, these vibes.
What?
Vibes, man.
This isn't even a casual Friday. This is just a standard issue show.
No, this is a casual Friday, baby. It's so casual. So casual. I'm not even
Did you
wearing
see my
pants.
hat? Backwards, bro.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Maybe you should lighten up a little bit, you know, Eric?
No, I don't think so. I think I'll probably go harder.
All right, welcome everybody into a very casual Friday edition of the DNVR Nuggets podcast. A lot to get today. We got the schedule out. I got some takes. I have one take, guys, that is going to just blow your mind about the schedule. I can't wait. I can't overhype this take. That's how spicy it's going to be. We got Will Barton, who had a fiery quote, or at least was it? Some people seem to think it was. Some people seem to think it wasn't. We're going to talk about that as well as his health. And then, of course, Mr. Composure. I would say he spoke to the media and was quite composed today. That's how I would describe it. So we got a lot to get to today, guys. Thanks, everybody, rolling into the chat. Don't forget, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell that tells you whenever we have a live show. And then vibe with us here with this beautiful beach music.
We're really good at dancing.
I'm joined by my esteemed colleagues, as always. The man with the wind in his hair, Harrison Wind.
Boys, it's been a hell of a week. Can't wait for today's show. I am freaking jacked for today's show.
Wow,
Will
freaking
Barton,
jacked.
PJ Dozier, man.
I know. It really is going to be a good one. And then I've also got down here a man with low energy. Some say low T. I don't know. It's D-Line Co.
That's a BS, man. What a terrible intro.
Well, whenever I see somebody on there like this, I just think low.
Okay,
low
what
T.
do you've thrown me into a perpetual Friday funk with this music always, and not the funk like music funk, but the depression type. So yeah, that's what you get.
And then, of course, a man that's bringing the energy today because he knows a good vibe when he's feeling it, man, and that's Brendan Vogt.
You know what else I know, guys? I'm a starter on this podcast.
That's so good. That was a great line, too. That was a really great one. All right, so let's get right into it. Guys, later in the show, we're going to talk about the schedule. I don't want that to be top bill because I actually think the actual game is going to take the precedent here. And Will Barton, to me, correct me if I'm wrong. I've said this for a while. This season, a lot of people, it's the season of MPJ. I think he's central. The Nuggets' success in large part is dependent on him and all the various aspects of him. Second on that list to me, and a very close second, not like a way down the list second, a very close second is Gary Harris and or Will Barton. Are one of them ready to go? Are both of them ready to go? Are either of them capable of sort of filling in the right spot? And one of the central parts of that component was Will Barton healthy? Well, we got to talk to him today, and there was a lot of things we could take away from it. The very first thing I wanted to take away is he said he's feeling good. He said that the rehab process, was very necessary, and there was a lot of ups and downs over the last 8 months, but especially over the last 2, but that he's ready to go. Harrison, what's your read on that aspect of speaking to Will Barton today, just his readiness? I mean, of course, a lot of this can be revealed in the coming days, but what's your read on it at this point?
Yeah, I didn't come away from what he had to say thinking he's like 100%. I just didn't. He was asked, are you feeling 100%? He said, quote, I'm definitely feeling really good. So my read on it is that he's obviously feeling much better than he was when he left the bubble. I don't think a lot of people understand how bad a shape he was in when he did leave the bubble. I was told Will was rehabbing in Miami for like the past 3 months. When he first got there, he couldn't do a 4-foot box jump. Right. He just couldn't do it because he couldn't jump without his knee hurting. And he was just he couldn't get past that point. I mean, he's
It
obviously...
was real. It was a
Yeah.
significant, I don't want to say injury, but like a significant, like he couldn't get over the hump for whatever it was he was rehabbing.
Yeah. So I think he's far past that. He's dunking the ball, he's running, he's jumping, he's cutting, but I didn't come away from what he said thinking, okay, he's 100% back to being the old Will Barton, and that's who he's going to be this season. That just wasn't my read on it.
So let's play it. For the people that haven't seen, we have a clip. Producer Kale, why don't we roll the clip about his health?
Are you 100% right now? Do you feel like you're ready to go with this team? And then how hard was it for you to be away from the bubble when the Nuggets were making the run that they did?
Definitely feeling real good. I just want to thank the Nuggets organization for, letting me out the bubble to seek the, complete attention I needed, the proper attention and, rehab and just everything. Making sure that, I was comfortable with everything and get my body to this point. I feel real good. Just got to get back in shape, but I feel very good as far as my body and being able to be athletic and do the things I need to do. Very tough being away from the bubble, being away from my team, seeing them go so far. The run they had was just, magnificent. Something that we already planned, though, so I wasn't really surprised. I thought we were a team that could win the championship last year, so I wasn't surprised that we went that far. Just upset that I couldn't be there to, help take us over the top.
All right, before we get to that, because I thought it was a great quote, I want to get to one other thing here. You know who notices my haircuts, guys? Everybody else besides the U3. I always get upset. You never notice it. You never compliment it. You never say anything. You guys not see? Look how nice and
High and tight, baby.
I know, right?
I get no respect on this show. I get no respect.
Well,
I'm the
That's
one
true.
that gets bullied.
You never get any respect, Adam.
I'm the one that's bullied here. They called me the bully, so I don't know. No, but seriously, guys, with Will Barton, so this is why I introed the show today the way that I did, because I think if you read the quote, "I'm a starter in this league," which we're going to play here in a little bit, you saw that, you would think that he came out like Kenneth Faried did that one day, where literally unprompted, he just came out and said, "I'm a starter," and then just started going. Will Barton, there's a disconnect between the Will Barton that we know, because we talked to this guy in the locker room, we talked to players around him, we talked, all of this different stuff, and then the one that fans get. And I wonder what all of the different layers are, because I feel like we are much more pro Barton people than maybe the average fan or even the diehard fan. But you see in this quote, what I like about it is Will Barton, first of all, thinking the Nuggets, there's been a lot of talk about, like, did he leave the bubble? Was this not? I mean, the Nuggets have come out and said this was, consensual parting of the ways during the bubble. Like, he left consensual. I don't know what the maybe a weird phrasing. But then also just thinking of that, and then everything he talked about, and really I think we can all attest to this. Barton was a team guy, a we guy. Like, he's talking about what the team accomplished, and he missed being there, but we're not surprised because we knew we could do this all along. And it was a great interview today. That's why I hate that the headline from his thing was "I'm a starter." But Vote, kind of take it from there. Just what did you think of that part and his conversation about where he's at health wise?
Yeah, I mean, his motivation, I think, is that he just believes he's good enough to help this team win a title. Like, I really think that's just where it comes from. And he even said as much. He thinks they could have gone even further if he was playing. So everyone's just going to hear, like, it's not as selfish as it's framed.
Right,
like, what he
right.
really believes is that he is the fifth guy for that team to win a title, thinks he can do it. And the other thing is, he acknowledged how much tougher this has been for him mentally, and it's the first time I've heard him acknowledge this. He's playing the best basketball of his career.
Right, yes.
And he has worn many hats for Denver and done a lot for them and taken on a big workload. And his reward have been two debilitating, the two most serious injuries of his career. So that's a lot to work through mentally. And I think what Barton's getting at is, hey, like, I've earned this opportunity. I've come off the bench. I've put my minutes in. I've been a good soldier. I think I can help you guys, and I want to. And that's just sort of what it sounded like to me, more so than here are my demands, and if you don't meet them, I'm out.
We'll play that clip here in a second. But Eric, when you hear him just talking about his health and everything, are you buying that he's ready to go? And what's your read on that comment?
He seemed a little tentative in the way that he was talking about it, and the way that he laughed about being out of shape.
Right.
Gives me pause. I really am very intrigued at the idea of getting a healthy Will Barton back into the lineup that we saw in the bubble, and like what that could actually mean. Like when scoring isn't happening, or people need to be self-starters, and they're not able to do it. I'm a little nervous that Will is like a little more anxious to get on the court than maybe his body is going to allow him to do. But we'll see. I mean, I'm all in on Thrill. I love what he brings. I love his heart. I love his leadership. I love everything he can do. But we saw what a hobbled Thrill looks like, and it's not thrilling. Not thrilling, I would say.
That's a great point, because we did see Will at not 100%, and his game doesn't scale down. It's the same. He plays the exact same way, whether he's capable of doing it or not. I think one of the storylines, one is obviously health, and then another one is just, how do these pieces fit? Because the same goes for Michael Porter. He's so clearly talented enough to be one of the 3 best players on this roster, but does he fit? And then you add Will Barton to that equation, which at the same time, Will Barton at his best seamlessly, in my opinion, fits into what Denver does. The ball gets popping, and he's a big part of that. People know him as this gunner or this or that. When he was on the court with Jokic and Murray last year, I think it was a plus 10 net rating. Now, that's a starting lineup, so you would expect it. But you throw him out there with MPJ and Jokic, and it was only like 300 possessions or something like that, so it was a small sample size, like plus 12. Yeah. And those minutes were that December-January stretch when Murray was out, Harris was out, Millsap was out, Plumlee was out. Will Barton was carrying the team. That's why he was saying, like, if you look at last year, like, I don't know if you replaced that run in January with Gary Harris. I don't know if the Nuggets make that same run. Will Barton was able to sort of tailor his game and step into different roles in a way that I don't think Gary Harris is. So, it all comes down to his health. Why don't we play the second part of that, or the second clip, Cale, here about him starting, so everybody can kind of see. Again, this was me asking him a question, and my question was, do you want to be a starter? So he's literally responding to a direct question.
It was solicited to be
postseason. What is the hunger level?
Not that one.
Hey, Will, it's great to see you. I think for every player, starting is important. I know it was very important for you the last couple of years. Is it as important to you going into this year that you start? Is it or would you be comfortable coming off the bench if that's what coach chooses?
I'm a starter in this league. I think I've proved that year in and year out, being one of the most consistent players in the whole NBA. Even like I said, looking back to last season, you've seen what I was able to do. I think it's clear cut who I am in this league. I'm a starter, but at the end of the day, that's coach's job to, see what he wants to do. That's the organization as far as who they want to start and things like that. But at the end of the day, I'm a starter, and nothing has changed that. The last time you guys seen me play, everything speaks for that. So I don't really even have to speak too much on it.
Bet Thrill did notice my haircut. I like this comment. It's true, man. It's very.
He didn't mention it either. I hope he burned Thrill on it then.
So I'm curious, Eric. Had you seen that yet? Okay, so I'm curious. You saw the quotes. You saw it like typed out. I'm curious if that matches what you expected.
Like. I didn't expect that it was like an unprompted Kenneth Faried, I'm a starter. Like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm a starter. I mean, like, and he's right. Like, Will Barton is a starting level player in the NBA.
Right.
He's not demanding that he starts. He's just saying, like, that he can play at that level. He is that level player. So, whether or not, so is Lou Williams. So is the longest. Like, these are players that are starting caliber players, whether or not they are on the floor when the ball gets tipped. I mean, so much is made of the word starter and like what it means. Sometimes you have starters that come in and play 10 minutes and then don't show up again until into the third. But Will Barton is just a good player. That's what he's saying. He's just reminding you guys, like, I'm good. Don't forget about it. It's been a while since you saw me. A lot transpired, but I'm still that dude. So, and I'm buying it.
Yeah. Wind?
It's got to be so tough for Will coming off this injury, because if you guys remember back to 2 years ago when he had that really terrible injury at the very beginning of the season, he came back, he rushed back probably quicker than he should have, and he got booed by his home crowd in the playoffs, pretty much booed off the floor and out of the starting lineup. So he's probably thinking about that and trying to come back from this injury this time around. And like, he knows he wants to get back on the floor. because he had that great showing last season. He knows what he could have contributed in the Western Conference Finals if he was healthy. He knows he wants to get back on the floor and continue that. But I've got to think in the back of his head, he's also thinking about what happened 2 years ago. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's kind of waging that battle. The thing about him being a starter is he's right. He has shown that he's a starting level player in this league. I'm with you, Adam. I have no doubt in my mind that if the Nuggets rolled out a Jamal Murray, Will Barton, Michael Porter Jr., Paul Millsap, Nikola Jokic starting five, which is what I think they will do most likely if Will Barton is healthy. Big caveat there.
Right, big caveat.
I have no doubt that that lineup will be absolutely elite. And I think it could be good offensively and defensively too. So there's a lot more to get into there and what that means for Gary Harris, but I think he fits with that group super well.
Brent, I'm going to let you finish, but Connor Trump has the greatest comment of all time. Conspiracy Quarter, Adam likes Will because they low-key look similar. What?
Maybe
I've often thought that.
You guys can't be talking about the same
Photoshop a side-by-side, man. I want to see. I got to see the like...
I think it's the haircut. I think it's the
Is that
haircut
what it is?
specifically. Yeah.
I mean, we have very similar features.
Hold on, let me look at you and think about Will Barton. You know what? You know what? I gotta say, I don't see any of it at all. That's not true.
The last thing I would stress with Thrill is that he's done this. He has come off the bench in the past. So, like, labeling him as a player who seems unwilling to do so is unfair. He has been the backup ball handler. He's been a secondary ball handler when playing with the starters. He's been a guy who has to create his own shot. He's been a guy who's put an emphasis on battling on the boards and playing better defense. He's played between 30 and 40 minutes a night out of position often. So to imply that he hasn't paid his dues for this team is incorrect. He has. And so, again, what he's feeling like is that he deserves this shot and he's good enough. I don't think that's the same thing as a demand. And I would also lastly stress that Adam asked him straight up, do you think you're good enough? And by the way, the guys who's going to say no? Like, and if they say no, they're lying.
JaMychal Green
did say no.
And that's what you say when you're coming into a new team that just went to the Western Conference Finals and you haven't played a minute for them. But the reality is, like, I can relate to Will's comments as a dude who played lower level baseball when I was 11. I thought I was better than the guy at second base. I wanted to start. Like, Will thinks he's good. It's no mystery to me that he feels this way.
I do wonder, though, and I see the comments now already coming out about, like, where does that happen? Look, Malone appears to be slotting Michael Porter into the inside track for that spot. Like, I think everybody wants him to win it at small forward, but there is a chance that he just doesn't, and Will Barton is back in that small forward spot. But I think more likely, at least to me, it's more likely, is that there's a real competition for shooting guard, and that's a Gary Harris, Will Barton competition. Maybe Monte Morris is this like very, very dark horse candidate to sneak in. I don't think so, but I think it's a Gary Harris, Will Barton competition there. And for me personally, I just would not be surprised if Will Barton was the guy there. You see something great here? Or what's going on?
Did Vogt ever get to second base? I'm not sure which question you're asking. I did start for a B team in All-Stars 7th grade.
Did you make out during that time?
No, I didn't make out with anyone. No.
Okay. Gary, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said on the show earlier this week. That competition is going to be between Gary Harris and Will Barton, and it's going to be a little awkward, I think, especially if both guys are healthy, man. Like, it's not two up-and-coming players who are battling for playing time. These guys have been teammates. They've had the same locker next to each other forever, and I would not be surprised if whoever does not win that job gets traded, because it's tough for me to see it working if Gary Harris gets the job and Will Barton comes off the bench, or if Will Barton gets the job and Gary Harris comes off the bench. It's going to be tough for that other guy who does not win the job, in my opinion, at least from my read on the situation, to be happy and be willing to accept that role. I could see, the guy who comes off the bench getting dealt.
Oh, man.
There's a lot of comments about Will as a potential six-man, and I think what's difficult about this is I agree that there's a fit for Will off the bench. I also just think he unlocks the best offense with the starters. Yeah. So it is difficult. And to Wynn's point, it is hard to see Gary as a backup small forward. But
I think no matter – that's the thing is, like, would Will be happy coming off the bench? I don't think he would. And I think the same is true of Gary. I think the same is true of Michael Porter. And would they – does that mean they're going to, like, derail the season? I don't think so. But I do think that whoever doesn't get that, the clock – might be ticking on them, like, hey man, if they don't get an opportunity through injury or through something else, like, it might mean that you got to make a move here.
I can't believe.
I don't know. Maybe not. But
we're just exiting the age of innocence for this young.
It is true.
Squad.
Yeah.
Exactly it.
There we are. Ultimate troll move though. Malone just rolling out Murray, Harris, Barton.
Stop it.
Just the three of them?
Millsap, Jokic. The same lineup as last year. Everybody gets all excited. All these new pieces. Like, nope, same squad. All right, Harrison, let's hit our first break here. On the other side, we got more from Barton. We got a little PJ composure. And then the schedule.
All right, first up, guys, we got the Christmas ale from Breck Brewing. I haven't tried the Christmas ale yet, but I've heard awesome reviews. I mean, every beer from Breck Brew gets a review from us. Totally honest, great review. So make sure to pick up the Christmas ale from Breck Brew. Perfect for this time of year. You can get it at your local liquor store. You can go to the farmhouse where they've got that skating rink. They've got that tubing hill. Pick up some Christmas ale there as well. Also, make sure to hit up Green Mountain Dental Group. Get a free Sonicare toothbrush when you schedule a cleaning, x-ray, and exam. They're located just 15 minutes from downtown Denver. That Sonicare toothbrush, a great option, a great pickup this time of year too. So make sure to hit up Green Mountain Dental Group today. Also, I want to do my DraftKings pick of the week. Get that in here right now. The odds are up on DraftKings for most improved player. I think the Nuggets honestly have two really good candidates for this. Jamal Murray at plus 1,100 and Michael Porter Jr. at plus 2,000. I know technically second-year players don't usually win this award. Luka Doncic, a second-year player, was third in the voting last year. Brandon Ingram won it. Bam Adebayo, a third-year player, was second. But I feel like MPJ, he's moving into the starting lineup this year. He's obviously going to get a ton more shots, a ton more minutes. I think those are nice odds at plus 2,000. And Jamal Murray, I mean, plus 1,100 isn't great odds, but he's got to be one of the favorites in the clubhouse right now. So that's my DraftKings pick of the week. MPJ for most improved player of the year, plus 2,000.
Wow. It's a bold one, but I like it. I mean,
can I make one more Barton point out of the break because I'm a little fired up? See some folks in the comments saying that it's not a coincidence that the Nuggets played their best basketball without Will Barton. First of all, I think it's arguable that it was their best basketball. They were down 3-1 twice in a row. I just think they're a very talented team. But I would also say that the team does not agree with you. I think if you ask players and people in Denver, they believe if they had Will Barton, they would be a better basketball team. And that's probably rooted in all of the good basketball that he's played over the last 3 to 4 years.
We'll see. I mean, it's interesting, and Will is one of those players that I think exists a bit on a razor's edge because he can do so many different things, and what he does choose to do matters. Like the scoring version of Will Barton, there are nights when Denver needs that, and he steps into it. There's nights they need the facilitating one, so I understand that it's hard for a player that can do and fill a bunch of different shoes to always pick the right shoes to wear that day. Yeah. But I think Will Barton does a really nice job of it, and I think the front office, I know the front office feels if he was healthy last year, Denver against the Lakers is a coin flip series, not a 5-game or something. Whether or not they're right, whether or not you agree, whatever, but it's not just us saying this.
Right, yeah.
It's just a tough situation for Michael Malone and the Nuggets. This is an imbalanced roster right now, in my opinion.
It's true.
They've got a lot of guards. They got a lot of guys that play the 1 and 2. Will Barton, people forget, is a natural 2. And, he would love to get back to playing the 2 this season. And he'd love to start there. But there's just a lot of point guards and shooting guards on this roster. So it's tough, man. I'm with you with what you were saying before the break, Adam, that both of those guys are going to be unhappy coming off the bench. I just think that could be, where we're heading with the one guy who doesn't get that starting nod, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough situation for sure.
This is a good question. I think Thrill had good defense last year. Yep. And I think with his length, I think he's actually a really good defensive two. Not Gary Harris level. Gary's elite in my opinion, but he's really good. And I think the net is a positive when you just factor in a guy that's reliable shooter, 37% three-point shooter, can handle the ball, knows how to make reads. I always bring this up, but him and Jokic were the number 1 pick-and-roll duo in the NBA back in 2016. Yeah. I mean, I know that sounds crazy to think, but they were the first to develop that great two-man game. There's one more quote from him, Cale. Do you have the one about being hungry? I want to play this one for a reason, but I don't know if you know which one it is.
Are you hungry?
Well, I am. I'm a little hungry, actually, to be honest. I noticed, though, Cale, when you loaded these up, they're called Barton 1, Barton 2, Barton 3, not Barton Hungry, Barton Knee. So let's take a guess, Cale. If you're wrong, you're out, bro. I'm sorry.
Season. What is the hunger level going into this year?
Nailed it.
Oh man, to win a championship. That's it for me. That's it. I feel like, if I was there, we could have went even further. And now that's my drive to see how far we can take it. And, all of us staying healthy and being there, when the time is needed on the biggest stage. But championship, the same it was last year. We took it a step further. We went to the Western Conference Finals, and now it's time to go all the way. So that's my only focus.
First of all, producer Cale, good job, man. He knew it was Barton 4 or whatever it was.
We won't doubt you again until next week,
or till the next time we call you for something.
Yeah, later on the show, I'm sure. The reason I brought that up is because one of the other questions I've had this season coming in, but is just like how hungry are the Nuggets, and it's not like this is now answered, but Jamal Murray, Will Barton, the two guys that when asked that question, like definitively looked us all in the eye and was like, yo, like, what are you talking about? Like, hungrier than ever. And that gives me, that excites me because I do think there's a realistic question for some of these teams to think they just got done. They're not even fully rested mentally. Are they even there? And I think for at least those two, no surprise, if you would ask me which two guys are hungriest, I would have said Jamal Murray and Will Barton. But it is good to see.
I gotta say, like, watching those clips, like, there's just like a vulnerability in his voice and his answers, and it's like he really feels like he's being truthful and like he's being reflective.
Always, though. This is the thing. Always.
But he's not as boisterous as he's been in the past. Like, you could tell he's been like he's sort of gone through some things, and you can tell he's being a lot more introspective about his life and his career, and so it's cool to see. Like, I feel like if he's able to translate what I'm seeing in this interview onto the floor, like, he'll be a big plus to the Denver Nuggets if his knees are going to cooperate.
Vote and win. Tell me if you agree with this, but I think that, and he even talked about, like, it's weird. I'm one of the oldest guys now. Like, I feel like I was just 21 entering the league, and here I am. It's gone so quick. So I think to your point, Eric, I do wonder if 2 years of having injuries and the second one, not just setting him back, but taking him out of a playoff run. I really do feel like you're right about this introspection. He sees the end of his career, and it might not be for 10 years, it might not be for 5, but he at least like is conscious of it in a way that Jamal Murray probably isn't. These young guys that haven't ever had it. So his own mortality. He's been faced with his NBA mortality. Like, it's become real to him.
And Tim was talking about how he's in a much better place mentally, or Malone was, excuse me, which I thought was an interesting response because we were more concerned with the physical aspect of this. But it's just far more grating than I think any of us realize. Consider that the most sort of precarious place you've been in physically coincides with the very best you've ever played as an athlete. Right. And like wanting to be out there, knowing you can help and not being able to, like, that's a deflating dynamic I can only imagine.
Yeah, he just went through a lot this offseason, even though the offseason was only like 4 months long for him. He thought about getting surgery on his knee for sure, but opted to go with the rehab route. And personally, he went through just a lot in his personal life that I'm not going to talk about publicly on the podcast, but he's changed a lot of things in his personal life too. So he has gone through a lot, and I do agree that from everything we're hearing, he is in a much better place just emotionally than he was when he left the bubble. But he's definitely been through a lot.
Yeah, think about what that's like if we were watching the Nuggets last year and you guys were suddenly found yourself unable to talk about the Nuggets. Like, you'd lost your voice and you lost the ability to type, and you just had to sit and like you couldn't do your profession. And you just like wanted so badly to be a part of it. I'm sure that you would come back and just have a new view on like what it means. So interesting.
Well, we should probably hit real quick because a lot of people are asking what like the injury was with Barton and how it happened.
Okay. Yeah.
He had like knee soreness. I think the Nuggets were pretty much calling it. Yep. I think going back to like January or February, before the season was suspended. And he talked about it on the call today. When COVID hit and, his knee was kind of acting up every now and then, the Nuggets, and I think this was the case for a lot of teams throughout the league, it was tough to get, their trainers' hands on guys because nobody could, see each other. Nobody could come into the facility and get care and whatnot. So it seemed like that acted up through the hiatus. And then when he got down to the bubble, it was still bothering him. And, teams down in the bubble just did not have the resources that they usually have in their training rooms with the equipment when they were in the bubble in Disney World. So
the training facility down there was so bad. It was almost as bad as Pepsi Centers. I mean, that's what I heard. It was almost that bad.
Right. God.
Zing.
Yeah. But for him to get healthy, the only choice was for him to leave the bubble. So that's what he did.
Let's move on. Kale, we'll just leave that last clip, but we got to keep it moving. PJ Dozier also spoke today, and boy, was he PJ composure. That guy is so good with that.
His shoulders, they get a little straighter and wider.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, man, the first time that we encountered him and he just came out and nailed that speech in front of a packed Pepsi Center, I was like, man, this dude.
They gave him that on the first night of the regular season.
Yeah,
too.
He wanted it.
So Harrison, what's your takeaway from speaking to Dozier?
Super composed. PJ Dozier is going to be the mayor of Columbia, South Carolina one day. I think that's where he's from. I don't know if that's the exact city in South Carolina, but he's always...
That's a great guess.
That is a city in South Carolina.
That is a city, yeah.
It's the capital.
He will be a mayor of a city. That's one.
Yeah. So I thought the most notable thing that PJ said today was that he wants to play the 1, 2, and the 3. And it's probably the correct thing for him to say because if he wants to get on the floor, he's probably going to have to play some 3 because Monte Morris and Facu Campazzo are the backup point guard and shooting guard. If he wants to get on the floor, he's going to have to play some 3. And I just see him being the Torrey Craig of this season. Maybe not playing 20, 25 minutes a night like Craig did for month-long stretches this year, but I think PJ Dozier is going to be the guy that is kind of the spot role player against certain matchups for the Nuggets. The Nuggets are playing a Luka Doncic, maybe that's a PJ Dozier game. If they're playing a James Harden, maybe that's a PJ Dozier game. If they're playing Chris Paul, maybe that's a PJ Dozier game. Kind of like how Torrey Craig was used last year. I think that is the role that Dozier's heading for.
I do like this comment here. PJ is going to be the next Mr. Nugget. I kind of like the idea of always having a Mr. Nugget, and it's a title that gets.
We should pass it down.
Gary was Mr. Nugget. I don't know if he's Mr. Nugget anymore. I don't know. It's probably Monte. I think it's Monte.
What's in that you have Mr. Basketball, Indiana.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's actually where I stole it from with Gary. But
awesome. All right.
I thought you came up with it. How embarrassing.
Do we want to play the clip before you comment, Vote? Do you want to play the clip?
I don't even have to comment. It's
No, I want to hear your comments, but we have the one about playing all 3 positions. Kel, go for it.
Hey, PJ, I'm wondering, there's been lots of talk with the 3 players leaving and a lot of players coming in. How do you see your role on this team this season?
Definitely being defensive minded to continue that part. Being able to play the 1, 2, and 3, knowing all those positions and knowing what I need to do to, be helpful in all those positions. So, like I said, just knowing multiple positions, being able to guard multiple positions, it'll be really big for me this season.
All right, Vote.
Look at that. Eye contact, the composure. There's literally no other way to describe it.
Fantastic eye contact.
The way he looked right into that camera that's set up directly in front of him.
Oh, I know. It's got to be the weirdest setup ever. All right, Vote, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I was just going to say to Wynn's comments, PJ knows. PJ knows exactly what his ticket is to more playing time. And I even said later in the interview, he said, there's only so many guys in this league who earn their playing time through their ability to score. And I understand that my path to more burn is focusing on the defensive side. But more specifically, it's that he said 1 through 3, that he knows he might have to guard some 3s, and that's probably how he gets out there. There's a very specific role I think we all envision for PJ on this team. It's always encouraging to hear when the player has a similar understanding of what that role should be.
Yeah, I think so too. And I do love the part about, just defensively, because my thing about PJ, if I had one critique of him, is that he can go a little Moutier. Sometimes he goes full Moutier, where it's like, okay, he's the number one option, like right now. And I think that he really scaled that back. And some of his best moments were defensive moments, where it's like, oh, this guy's doing that job, and maybe getting to the paint, but not being too aggressive. So I like that. That's where his mind's at. I hope he gets an opportunity, because to me right now, this is going to change so much. Remember when we did the big board, and we did it like 1 week before the draft, and the big board was completely different by the time like 1 week later? I feel like I have a starting lineup, backup lineup, and he's not a part of it right now. This isn't my own personal one. This is just kind of what I sense and feel and think is going to happen. But we have a camp, and I hope that he finds a spot in there, because I really like composure. Anything else from this from his? Or should we take our last break and then get to the schedule, the fun part?
Schedule.
Yeah, get rid of this boring slog. Let's get to the fun part of this thing.
Let's get to the schedule here in a moment. Let's take one quick break. On the other side, schedule talk, including I'm going to drop a big bomb for you guys.
I can't wait for this bomb. I'm going to get some sort of bomb protection.
Guys, the gyms may not be full, but there's definitely no shortage of madness this college basketball season. For us fans, the college basketball powers that be have gifted us with a top-tier matchup between two powerhouses this weekend. Gonzaga and Baylor will be going toe-to-toe
1-2. Number one,
what
1-2.
could be the nation's top ranking.
Shouts to our guy Paul Klee. Not watching, but shouts to him anyway. He's a big Gonzaga guy. Every time.
How do you know he's not watching?
I'm pretty sure he's not watching.
Yeah, friend of the show.
DraftKings Sportsbook is giving all college basketball fans who sign up now the chance to win $100 when betting on either Gonzaga or Baylor to win this Clash of Titans. Plus, you'll get a deposit up to $1,000 when signing up using promo code DNVR. So make sure to download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code DNVR when you sign up for your shot to win. For your shot to turn $1 into $100 when betting on either Gonzaga or Baylor to win. That's right. Bet $1 to win $100. Use promo code DNVR during sign to take advantage of these great offers for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Remember, guys, must be 21 or older, Colorado only. Bonus comprises first deposit bonus. Deposit bonus requires a 25x playthrough. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Also, we've got our friends over at Chevalier Mortgage, Virginia and Mike Chevalier, the best mortgage duo in the business. Give them a call today, 303-257-6578. You can also visit them at www.dnvrmortgage.com. Mike and Virginia Chevalier are diehard Broncos fans. They also support DNVR as DNVR members. They have over 15 years of financial services experience between the two. So if you guys are maybe looking to buy a house, it's a complicated process. They know everything that has to do with the home buying process, especially if you're a first-time buyer. Hit them up today. Visit DNVRmortgage.com and enter to win a free DNVR shirt or hat of your choice. Most importantly, get set up with a free consultation to discuss all of your options with Mike and Virginia. That's DNVRmortgage.com.
Which they actually came to the bar before.
Yeah, they're
in the before times. They're cool people. Very cool people.
Very cool people. Honestly, like I have a lot of experience with this, with the mortgage, this or that. You're going to want somebody that you could chit chat with, because you spend a lot of time with them, and you don't want that dead air to be like, oh, we have nothing in common. So sit there and chit chat nuggets with them. Why not?
Yeah.
All right. So let's get to the schedule. I have my games that I'm most excited for. Should I just go through my list? The schedule's out. Should I just go through my list and kind of give you?
I'm just going to sit back and let this bomb hit.
All right. This is in reverse order, okay? And actually, it's actually not in any order, so we pulled it up here. Nice work there, producer Kale. Chicago. Nuggets at Chicago, March 1st. I'm always excited for the Chicago game.
Why? Is that the bomb? Is that the bomb?
No, that's not the bomb. This is the worst bomb. This is the. I'm starting slow here because Jokic going to be surrounded. Oh, I guess there won't be any fans in the crowd. Wow, this really backfired on me.
Do they still do Serbian appreciation night with no fans? Is the real question.
Man, this list is really taking a dive now that it's going to be empty. I think they should at least put Serbian flags for Jokic.
No, but what March 1st? Is there any chance there'll be fans or no?
I don't think
no
chance. I don't think there's a chance, man. I don't know. I don't know. Well,
I thought you might be going with the Niko Jokic, Arturas Karnisovas.
Yeah, you know what? That's what I'm going for. Exactly. Arturas back in the house. That's play well against your
All
old
right,
team. All right, next one on the list here.
Here we go.
TNT against Portland, February 23rd. Yes, sir. They play Portland twice in the preseason, and then don't play them again until the 23rd of February. But you know it's Portland. We got Nurkic in the house.
Ooh.
We got Dame Lillard. We got this nice rivalry. We got Carmelo Anthony, never won in Denver, so February 23rd is next chance. Maybe his last chance.
You guys might see that there's technically, in a way, win for Melo, but it happened in the bubble. It doesn't count. He's never won in Denver.
Oh yeah, that doesn't get the bubble. Doesn't
Yeah.
count. This is about in Denver.
I'm
This
just
is about in
saying.
Denver.
Technically, but
Right, yeah. Technically, you're wrong. So I think, what do you guys think? That's a great game, no? Portland, not
Yeah,
excited?
yeah, of course.
huge game, bro. Especially that late in the season, it's going to have playoff implications. I mean, I wouldn't be. I think Portland's going to.
That's
be
not that late in
better.
the season, though. That's because this is only the first half schedule.
It's
That's
late
right.
in
That's
the
right.
first
You got
half
that.
of the
It's
season.
late in the first half. Yeah, that's
it's-
right.
It's a little weird, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it's always nice to get a chance there. Next game I got January 31st, Utah. We got that one up here. January 31st, Utah. Look, Utah's another there's a bunch of rivalries. There was a reason I put this one on.
Is
I
it
can't
the
remember why.
1:30 start? The matinee start?
Oh God, look at that! A Sunday matinee. Wow, that is wild.
I kind of forgot that they didn't start the season in October.
Well, that was your point, Phil. Before we started recording, the Christmas Day game is the second game of the year,
of the year,
which is just wild.
But again, don't worry, it won't be clunky. They will be coming off of 3 full preseason games
Right.
to figure it all out. So
2 against the Blazers.
The next one I have up here, January 22nd, ESPN Phoenix. Again, just because it's ESPN. Also, I think Phoenix is going to be super exciting. One, Jamal loves playing against Phoenix. Some of his best games have come against them. And then also Yoke. Perfect triple-double. I'm ready for it. What happened?
I just love that his best games have come against Phoenix because they've just been absolutely dreadful defensively for the last 3 years.
Jamal,
I would love playing them too.
Yeah.
I think Phoenix is going to be a very, very, very entertaining team, and I think they're going to be good. So that's a good game with good storylines, good players, and then I just expect Jamal Murray versus Booker to be that'll be a fantastic one. Plus, it's ESPN. Jamal Murray gets up for those.
So Denver will be able to watch. That's cool.
All right, the Clippers on Christmas was my number 3. Very excited for that one. We have to mention this, guys. You didn't talk about it on the show yesterday, but Marcus Morris with the quote, "They're not better than us." An all-timer. All-timer, man.
That came out after the show.
I would rather guys have quotes like this than be reverent. I'd rather them just because it only makes yourself look dumb. Hey, the Lakers weren't better than us either, guys. They cheated.
I mean, what do you think if the Nuggets swept the Clippers, Marcus Morris would think the Nuggets were a better team? Probably not.
No, there's
no way.
There's no chance. There's no chance.
I just love it because doesn't that make it worse? You know what I mean? We blew a 3-1 lead to a team that we're definitively better than. You're all right, sick. Congrats. Congrats on the increased
I would love to
choke
know what aspect were the Clippers better than the Nuggets? What were they better than the Nuggets at?
They were better at they won the offseason.
I would have loved a follow-up question to Marcus Morris there.
You had a follow-up for him?
He would have loved.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Just in what way?
At basketball? Or
can you please explain?
Right, because you had 7 games against them to display your dominance.
Made Paul Millsap black out. Do you regret that?
Were the Clippers better at just alienating their role players? Were they just better at staging in-season coups against their coach? What?
Did you also saw the Paul George where he in the interview was it with who is it with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson where he's sitting there and he's kind of doing the Doc didn't really put me in the best spots last year. He's doing the full relax I'm telling you the real here. And it's nope, yo bro, you hit the side of the backboard in a playoff game in the crunch time.
And you scored 0 points in the fourth quarter. So
my favorite moment of last season might have been the timeout right after that, where Doc Rivers is pulling up, he's adjusting his pants, and he's "It's okay, it's okay." It's so clear it's not okay. Doc Rivers,
and those salmon polos, man.
Yeah,
God.
4 minutes left in the game. Paul George just hit the side of the backboard, down 15. He's like, "All right,
How many times?
We're fine. We're fine."
How many times have you guys watched the clip of the dancing girlfriends of the Clippers? Because I've watched it.
You just watch it a bunch?
I've seen that clip 8 bazillion times. And when I watch it, I let it replay over and over and over. It's great. Nothing makes me feel better.
I'm telling you, that Clippers team is just very, very unlikable, and it's too bad.
They gave Marcus Morris 4 years, $64 million. God, that just seems insane to me, man. Insane.
Yeah, that's more than Malik Beasley is getting.
Yeah. All right, my number 2 game I'm most excited about. This just shows some petty, guys. Monday, February 1st, the Detroit Pistons here in Denver. I am so ready for this. Guys, I see people in the comments, they're saying, I don't hate Jerami Grant. They say, you don't have to hate him. You don't have to dislike him. You don't have to feel, whatever. He made his own decision. He made a free agent decision. He had that right. He earned that right. I don't have to like him. And I'll tell you what, I think the Nuggets players, not that they dislike him, I think they all wish him well, and they'll probably in a group chat or something, but when they come into town, and there's you wanted to be the man, did you? I hope Michael Porter drops 50 points that game. That exact game, 50 points. The only reason I don't think he's going to get 50 is because I hope the Nuggets are up by 25 points entering the fourth. Bull could come in and drop his own 50 so that they can be like, you know what? You're right. You were 3rd on the depth chart at small forward, so get out of here.
Yes, again, I feel the absolute need to explain to anybody that holds the point that you were talking about, that you're not allowed to hate Jerami Grant for making a decision in his life. Like, this is sports. It is called sports hate. If I met Jerami Grant, we would be the best of friends. He probably wouldn't like me. I would like him. But in the context of sports, I wish the worst for him because he didn't pick my team. When he didn't pick my team, he's either with us or against us, and he could take that L on the way out.
Yeah. The Nuggets are going to win this game by 20, and Jerami Grant's going to go for 23 points on 8 of 25 shooting. And hey, he's probably going to be happy with that result.
Jerami Grant's career high, by the way, came in a Nuggets uniform against Detroit. I don't think it'll go as well, though.
That's when he knew, actually. That's
when he knew. I mean, look, Hartenstein had his best game of his career against Denver. That's like Denver picked him up. So maybe that's what happens.
All right, hold on. Before we go into number 1, I really need to prep for this bomb.
This is a big bomb. It's a really big bomb.
Adam's been teasing this bomb for a while, so I don't want to get the wind knocked out of me.
Can't possibly disappoint.
Can't possibly disappoint. Not if we bring out the Serbian anthem, guys. A lot of people are excited for the Christmas Day game, okay? A lot of people are excited. That's because they don't know. It's not American Christmas. It's Orthodox Christmas. And when do we have it this year? None other than when Luka Doncic is in town on TNT. We get Serbian Orthodox Christmas Jokic on TNT Jokic against Luka Doncic. Guys, how did this align so perfectly for us? This is going to be an all-timer. That is an absolutely, oh wow, the crowd loves it. They really love it. This is going to be an incredible. I'm melting from that. The number 1 game I'm looking forward to, Orthodox Christmas on national TV against Luka Doncic.
Why didn't you give us a little heads up for that level of bomb, dude?
Luka Doncic is going to go for 40, 10, and 10. Jokic is going to go for 30, 15, and 15. Can't wait, guys. It's going to be incredible. Vlaco might even get in on the mix. I don't know. He might.
Is there any chance that Jokic and Luka show up full of boiled goose or whatever it is you eat on Orthodox Christmas?
Duck
crap! They have 2. Oh. I guess Flacco's really going to have to.
Soup and rakia.
That was incredible, guys. That was incredible.
Was it the Dallas game that was the watch party? Jokic hits the game winner. We were at.
Yeah. That was a great game. Weird. Yeah. I'm telling you, Dallas versus Denver already a great matchup. But you throw it on Orthodox Christmas and you put it on national television. TNT, savvy move by TNT.
Always thinking one step ahead, TNT. And is it any surprise that your bomb would happen on TNT? I mean.
That was a terrible pun. I can't believe you guys are making fun of this. See, I'm telling you, I get bullied on this show.
I mean, I think it had more to do with the lead up than the actual meat of what you were saying, because I think that would be a good game. Playing Dallas.
Do you really not like my angle of Orthodox Christmas? Jokic
I do. I wouldn't describe that so much as a bomb, but I do like it.
Somebody said maybe the season will end that game too.
That would be a bomb.
That would be a real bad bomb. All right, Vote. You seem disgruntled.
Nope.
No,
All
he's
right.
good. Just standard gruntle.
Perfectly fine. Yeah.
Is there any games or anything else that stood out to you, Harrison, when you saw the schedule come out?
January 3rd and January 5th, the Nuggets will play a home-and-home with the Minnesota Timberwolves in the span of 3 days. That's a lot of Malik Beasley, Juancho Hernan-Gomez, and Jared Vanderbilt.
I wish there was fans. Up and we all get uncomfortably quiet.
I wish there was fans to gauge the reaction of Beasley, Juancho, and Vando, because like Juancho, the fan reception would be like at a 10, but I'd be curious to see what Beasley would be like.
Beasley back to back. We got Juancho in town. Like you're right. This was a severe oversight on my.
Do you guys want to do 11 minutes on Malik Beasley? Or
yes, yes.
No, like there's too much cancel material in there, and also like I don't know. I feel for the guy. I honestly, genuinely feel for the guy. I hope he figures this out.
How about January 14th, Golden State? Looks like that game's going to be on TNT. Look, Denver has sort of failed, I think, to answer the call on national television, or at least they did last season. Remember, it was just 2 seasons ago when Golden State was that team you were sort of comparing yourself against. It's a different outfit in Golden State this year. Not nearly as good as those KD Warriors, but I think it will be fun to see these Nuggets compare themselves against Steph on national television. The return of Steph. It should be a good game.
Yeah, I'm looking as I'm looking at this schedule. One thing I'm noticing, because I saw a comment in here, is does it look like less travel? If you look at it, there are. Pull it back up here, Kel, will you? Yeah. So there are, if you look at it, like a 5-game road trip in there, a 4-game road trip, but there's not really long homestands. I mean, the longest homestand is here in February with 4 games, but outside of that, it's all 2 or 3 game homestands. Yeah, I really expected Denver to have more like 7-game homestands, 7-game road trips, because that would, in theory, limit some of your like exposure. I would have guessed.
Do you guys have any insight as to why only half of the schedule is being released? Do you think that they are?
Oh yeah, no, because I think they want to reserve the right for games to have to get canceled and move around. Like they're trying to make it as flexible as possible. Yeah.
So I bet, but I bet looking at this just like quickly, it seems like there's a lot of lowercase games rather than uppercase, which says a lot of road games, like you're saying. So I wonder if the second half of the schedule is going to just be a lot.
Well, it will be. Yeah, they are a little more road heavy. I think there's three more road games than home games, but so they will be. The second half of the schedule should be more home heavy, which is great. I mean, Denver could some momentum here and maybe make up for it, on the back end or catch up even more on the back end. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's not quite the schedule I would have expected to see. What teams do they not play? Do they have the Lakers one time? They have the Lakers twice, so they'll get them in 2 times.
Yeah.
There's a handful of teams they won't play. They play
Man,
Portland once. That's kind of weird. They'll play Portland 3 times on the back end.
I'm really my non-bomb here is that I'm super excited to see them play the Clippers and Utah again. Like I really want to see what that dynamic is going to look like after what we went through at the end of last season, and obviously Portland every year. I mean, we're going to get the preseason Portland, but who cares? Like I want to see what it looks like when things count.
They don't have a single Houston game here, do they? Oh, they have one. They have one in December. It's the third game of the season, and then after that,
one thing I've heard little rumblings on, obviously not reporting anything, but just hearing that, we've seen news globally about the vaccine starting to get rolled out in different places, this or that. I mean, that's one thing we've talked about, the risk of COVID, this or that. I mean, who knows how quickly it can be rolled out, but there is a chance that the NBA will at least have the option players will have the option to get vaccinated early on. Maybe it's not December, maybe it's not even January, maybe it's February, and so then the back half of the schedule gets a little bit more, reliable or what have you. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there, that it is something we've been in this pandemic for 10 months and haven't had a vaccine, so it's almost like you don't think about it. But, maybe it is on the horizon for these guys.
Man, I can't believe how quickly things are coming at us now. I mean, it is hilarious if you think about the amount of time that we had to tread water with this team, like before the bubble happened, and then we were drafting Thanksgiving foods yet just like 1 week ago. And like now all of a sudden it's like, boom, they're coming back. Boom, here's the schedule. It's like, this thing's like really going to happen like really quickly.
Do you guys have anything else big before we get out of here for the weekend?
Just some good vibes, bro.
Always
just
great
spread
vibes.
them.
Vibes are always 1 in 100. Well, I do want to say one thing. I want to tease something. So last year, a lot of people don't know this because DNVR had just launched at the start of the season last year. We made these season preview videos that were among my top 5 things we did all year for DNVR. Coming back, baby. Filming them on Monday, or filming the first wave of them on Monday. On Tuesday, I believe Tuesday. We'll see what happens. But early next week, we're going to start releasing these preview videos because, to your point, Eric, the season's right around the corner.
Right here, baby.
We're right here, baby. And I can't wait for it. So if you're on the fence about subscribing to DNVR, some great stuff coming in those videos. Half of them are going to be for everybody. Half of each video will be for everybody. Half of each video will be behind the paywall for DNVR members. And I'm telling you, I'm so excited for them already. We might have some costumes. We might have some role play. might be
Dr.
cool.
Morris, Dr. Wynn. I also want to
Some
thank
consensual role play.
Doubtful.
Some of you have already voted on these, guys. We want your input for these player previews. You'll see player preview polls to thread each day on a different player on DNVR Nuggets. Go vote right now. Paul Millsap's still open. I'll have another one up by the end of the day. But we want to know what you guys think for this player preview series.
That's it for us this week, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. The Nuggets are back on. Oh, you're a little quick here, aren't you, Kale? A little quick. We better hope
Kale's eager to get his weekend started.
We better not come back. The Nuggets are back practicing as a team on December 6th. That means the next time you guys come in, yeah, Kale, that's right. The next time